What's going on, guys? It's Evil from Pure Evil MMA. I got a special guest joining us today from Project Takedown, which is helping people with post-traumatic stress disorder out there get into the field of MMA. And we got the guy in charge of it on. What's going on, Garrett Roche? How are you doing today, brother?
Not much. Hey, thanks for having me on the podcast, man. Appreciate it.
No problem. And it caught my eye, man. I mean, I have a lot of friends that went over into the service. Of course, everyone in high school has a commander come in or something like that, talk to you. But some of these kids didn't know what they were really getting themselves into in the early 2000s, like my generation. And this stems for any generation out there. A lot of my friends came back not the same as when they went in. And it's awesome that there's programs out there like this. I would like you to just help describe to our listeners today, what your program really is and how you got started.
Basically, I started it's more of an initiative program. It's probably 26 different names for it. It's called Project Takedown. I'm trying to form a nationwide network of dojos, BJJ schools, MMA gyms, everywhere, anything with any martial art, wrestling. We have a wrestling facility. Basically, we want to bring pre-screened PTSD diagnosed veterans in. By pre-screen, I mean we make sure they serve, make sure there's no stolen valor, make sure they're actually disabled, and bring them in and use BJJ, MMA training as a therapeutic outlet for the PTSD.
So say for instance, I own a gym and I see you guys got this, project that you're working on. Can I call your company up, or can I call you guys up and be like, hey man, I'm interested in this. I would like to do this at my gym. Is that what you guys are kind of aiming for here?
Yeah, that's basically how it happened. I had the idea after seeing a Facebook post, something that Ross Pearson had done, and with veterans, and I was already tied in with like a similar veteran wellness organization called Village to Village Foundation, which I'll get to them in a little bit, but I got to shout them out. But basically, this was my way of giving back, and there's a lot of great foundations out there for veteran wellness that collect money. We don't do any of that. We're hands-on. That's how we started. We have facilities now in 13 states, and it's still loose. Like I said, it's me basically doing it, so it's still loosely organized. I basically hit these guys, and of course, they're interested. They hit me up, and I'm like, okay, hey, man, I'll add your name to the list if we get a vet in your area, or, we come across any, or know of any, through reaching out. We basically get them to sign a waiver through us that basically we're just a finder service, and we're trying to get these guys in there and just give them some beneficial training that can possibly help with their disorder.
So, Garrett, first off, what states are you guys working with right now?
I'm located here in PA, close to the Maryland border. So our initial gym that I was part of, we closed down. So I'm basically just put a full spot in my basement. Both me and my wife work out, and I do martial arts, and she does a little bit of jiu-jitsu and stuff. So I got guys coming over and training no-gi. We got Thai bags, some weights and stuff. So I'm basically trying to bring them in here. Had a lot of personal stuff going on. I'm also involved in a fight organization we launched last year. So I've got a lot of stuff to do. So I've kind of not been able to focus as much as I want to. But I'm located here in PA. We have a wrestling facility as well as two other jiu-jitsu martial arts schools located within a half hour of the Maryland area. I reached out to schools in California. We were able to place our second vet, Brandon Baylor. We actually went to Submission Factory, Mike Begg out there in L.A. So far we've only been able to help two vets, but we're pretty much anywhere now. I've got guys that are willing to participate in North Carolina, up your way. We've partnered with a couple great other veteran wellness organizations and done some stuff with them. So I got Brian Crandall with Geese for GIs down in North Carolina. There's, like I said, it's just anybody that hears about it that I pretty much reach out to is like, yeah, let me talk to our school and see if we can do it, or if they have the ability to make the decision. They jumped right on because, as you did when you heard about it, it's a great cause, and I just wish more people could get involved and we can grow it faster.
For everyone listening in right now out there that is sparking their interest and they want to look it up on their phone or their computer right now while they're listening, do you guys have a website or a social media page right now they can go check out?
It's actually, right now, the best way to do it, Project Takedown 717@gmail.com is actually the email that I have received, I don't know how many emails through, since just people hearing about it, different podcasts, different media outlets and stuff like that. That's the best way to get a hold of me. I answer as quick as I can because, like I said, it is only me. We do have a group on Facebook that I try and just add everybody to, just kind of keep progress, send shout-outs if we add a new school, maybe another person might know a vet in that area that could benefit from it. So we're kind of just using social networking for the power of good and not just stupid memes and political crap.
Listen, man, for anyone out there that's really listening to this, the way that I got into MMA was my entire life. I was always into, combat sports and sports by any means. And then I lost my girlfriend a couple of years ago and fell into an awful drug addiction, man. And really, my interest for MMA was like re-sparked. I started watching the sport again, hanging out with my friends, getting back into it. And it's one of the things I can really thank today because it really gives me energy. It makes me feel alive when I'm sitting there watching MMA, when I'm covering the sport, when I'm sitting here doing these interviews. It makes me feel alive again, man. And for anyone out there that has been through some real shit, it's hard to not focus on the things that's really clouding over your heads. And when there's something like this that really makes you feel passionate about something, it's a blessing and a real present to have in life right now. And I'm so happy that the sport's actually getting the recognition that it really deserves, because it's not just it is a brutal sport, but there's an art to it, and there's a sense of relief that comes with it as well, whether you got anger issues, whether you're dealing with depression or anything really for that matter. I mean, there's people with autism that are getting into it, and what you guys are serving right now for our troops and stuff like that are coming back home to their families, not the same. You guys are providing an outlet for them to really get their mind off of things and really release a lot of their stress or depression. And I think that's an awesome thing that you guys are doing there, man.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, everybody pretty much jumps on board as soon as they hear about it. And I was laid up with an injury. I'd actually been training to start fighting, and I just fell in love with BJJ and kind of stayed away from the stand-up. But actually I had an injury and I had a bunch of downtime that I wasn't able to train, and just with, like you said, being just engrossed with the sport, man, I got hooked up with Hoodlum Fight Gear CEO Dave Woodby, and he actually became my partner in Coliseum Fighting Alliance, which we've lost that closer to your with in Albany. We did 3 shows last year, so it's another great outlet actually for us to kind of we brought in Village to Village Foundation, which real quick, villagevillagefoundation.org, if you guys can check them out. They do scholarships in the names of fallen veterans on the premise of pay it forward. And they also do a little bit of stuff with PTSD and stuff, which is where I got the idea to give back, because there's just so many of these big organizations. I'll call Wounded Warrior out because there was some scandal with that. Where does the money go? How much of the money that you're donating actually goes to a vet? And that's why, foundations like the Village Foundation, because they're trying to raise these scholarships in the name, basically just under the guise of pay it forward, just under the premise of pay it forward. I don't know if guise is the right word, I apologize, but just under the premise of pay it forward. If you're going to pay it forward in the name of somebody that made the ultimate sacrifice and never came back. Yeah. So that's why I want to do it. We don't accept money. We're not 501c3. If you want to help and you have the skills, there's ways to do it. You can participate in your gym. Like I said, Brian Crandall runs Geese for GIs, which sends donated geese all over the world to service members that participate in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So again, it's doing 2 things. It's helping give back to our service members just a little bit, just a little small token of our appreciation, and it's also spreading our sport. And anybody that's been following anything knows that Jiu-Jitsu especially has followed right up behind MMA in popularity over the last 10 years. So it's growing as well, and it's just like you said, it gives a chance for all those quote-unquote barbarians or people that participate in the blood sport, we have a chance to give back at a level that not everybody can give back. People can sit there and talk to a soldier if they know him or whatever, but even if it's just a guy coming to my basement and hitting pads and just bullshitting or learning a Kimura or something like that, man, I'm whatever, man, whatever it takes to help give back to these guys. My brother's actually stationed in Fort Bragg right now. He's in the Army. And I've had friends that went over, I've had friends that went over and haven't come back, I've had friends that went over and came back and they're not the same. So, this is kind of my way of giving back right at the core of the problem. I don't need donations, we don't need anything. We've had several people offer to donate gear, I've taken the stuff, and when we bring vets in, they use that gear, and then the geese, I actually, I say, hey, look, I have this great foundation, Geese for GIs, that was started, can we forward these to them so a service member can get some use out of them? And everybody's been like, yeah. So it's all, like I said, it's all about networking and just using social media and stuff, the tools we have at our disposal nowadays for something positive instead of griping and bickering and complaining about everything.
Yeah, people use it for all different reasons out there. It's some people can get a little annoying with the nonsense that they tweet, especially last night with the fights. But before we even mention anything like that, man. So I'm a veteran soldier. I got PTSD, or I just have some issues or whatever, and I want to join your gym. I'm listening to the podcast right now. I call you, I set it up, and I show up for my first class. I mean, what am I to expect?
Basically, my knowledge is limited. So if I'm doing something on a local level, with the gym that I was a member of closing, I have other facilities close. But if I run into a vet right down the street, I mean, I have almost 4 years of grappling, some MMA training, some kickboxing, a year and a half of kickboxing. So I'll take these guys in and I'll show them the basics of what I know. And then if they want to take it further, we'll definitely find them a school. We've had guys hit us up where there wasn't a school within an hour. So I'm like, look, here's the deal. Do some legwork for me. Let me find the names of 5 or 6 schools in each area that you'd like to do. Say you want to do Taekwondo and that's all you want to do. I'll try and find a Taekwondo school for you. If you want to do wrestling, whatever, man. I'll do the legwork. I'll make the phone calls. I'll reach out, and that's how we were able to place our second vet, Brandon, in California through a series of emails. And he gave me a list of 6 places he wanted to train at that were not too far out of the way for him. And we set it up. And like I said, Mike Begg at Submission Factory, man, he came through. Was like, hell yeah. Tom DeBlas, Ocean City BJJ, he's accepted. He's been like, we'll accept a vet. There's guys all over that are willing to do it. I just haven't had the time or the resources to kind of just put as much effort into it as I could have. So now I'm kind of like 2017, revamping with everything else we got going on. We're trying to push this a little bit more, and I have the space to do it now. And if I got to bring a vet into my house, and that's my way of giving back, then so be it. That's what I'll do. But basically, if you're a vet, if you're a gym, Project Takedown 717@gmail.com. Or there is a group on Facebook you can add to be added to and kind of see some of our progress. It's hashtag Project Takedown, one word. If you type that in, you should get a parentheses afterward. It says Combat Sports Fights PTSD. And that's us. You can hit me up. I'll deal with me directly, and I'll add you to the group, and you can kind of see where we're at or offer any advice or input.
So we got a couple of minutes left, and while I got you on the phone, man, I got to ask you, did you watch the fights last night, and what did you think?
I watched the majority of the fights. Here's the deal. New York State Athletic Commission has a long way to go with as far as MMA judging. I don't think that the judging and refereeing. I don't think that I echo what I saw this morning of that ref shouldn't have been in the main event. I wanted to know where Big Dan or John McCarthy were, honestly. But it is what it is. The New York State, all that stuff in New York is still kind of new and fresh, and they're figuring out what's going on and that's the one thing now I can kind of sit there and say, having trained myself and, being the president of the Coliseum Fighting Alliance and doing the stuff with the veterans and, just participating in the sport itself from multiple different angles and seeing the sport from multiple different angles. I got a new respect for some stuff now. And we did 3 shows in New York last year with a sanctioning body. We were one of the only fight organizations that had, with amateur MMA, we didn't have to have a sanctioning body or blood work or any of that stuff, and we chose to go above and beyond to do it when we didn't need to. So, I've seen firsthand what, some of these guys are trying to pull off. So the rules are definitely important, but I think they need a little bit more seasoned veterans for situations like that. The strikes after the bell, it's hard to hear, and everybody that's in the cage knows that. Like I said, I kind of let some of that stuff go as far as, like, I don't want to get involved and get sucked into it on Facebook, so I kind of just scroll past it. But yeah. I definitely don't agree with the flair of the card. I'll put it this way: if that would have been their first card in New York City, it would have been a huge disappointment. And Dana was quoted as afterwards saying it's not our best event. So again, me not being a fan anymore, having backstage, promoters' knowledge, being president of a fight organization, I can kind of look at it and say, yeah, well, shit happens.
Yeah.
Well,
check this out. They actually pulled in some pretty good numbers last night for attendance, and it actually surprised a lot of people. But, a lot of these people were excited when this fight was announced, when this card was announced at the Barclays Center in New York. I think this is like the 3rd time the UFC's been there. So, a lot of people, before they even announced the main event, bought their tickets. They just wanted to be there for the experience of watching the UFC in the Octagon in New York, So a huge deal has to go there. But like you were just saying, man, I don't know why they didn't have like Big John in there for the main event. I don't know why they didn't take a point there. It's definitely frustrating. But like you also said, it's so new there for the State Athletic Commission in New York.
Yeah. So I mean, it's only time will tell. You're gonna have bad events. I mean, real quick, our last event we had, we were using U.S. Muay Thai Association as our sanctioning body, and we actually, the day of, we had cage malfunction, so we had to put another cage in. Well, then our clearances were all messed up because we brought a bigger cage in. So we ended up actually turning an MMA show into a kickboxing show last minute. It was either that or cancel. And we pulled it out of our asses, and we had a great show, and that was the last show we did last year. So stuff like I said, being able to look at the sport, the only angle I can't see is the refs angle, because I don't have the training that some of these guys have. I'm not ABC certified. I'm not, and commissions vary state to state. I'm from PA, where the commissioner, the commissioner down here is notorious. I'll just put it that way. We're not going to blast him on the podcast, but he's notorious for some of his actions and whatnot. So, needless to say, like I said, states vary state by state. Anybody can be an armchair quarterback in football, and anybody can be an armchair keyboard warrior, keyboard ref, I guess, is what you want to call it nowadays, because everybody's got an opinion, and it is what it is. I kind of just, like I said, I try and scroll past a lot of the nonsense. But, there's definitely some argument in there, but what's done is done, and you treat everything like a learning process and learn from it and move forward and still make the same mistakes again. And, the UFC, they're not hurting. I mean, it's not going to kill anything. I think Bellator is gaining ground on them, yeah.
At the end of the day, it's just a sour way to end the night with that was supposed to be a special card. It's supposed to be a special main event. Jermaine Durandamy told me in our interview when I talked to her, she said she's never even seen the UFC title before. So that moment when they were placing it around her was a very real moment. But it just sucks that she didn't call out Cyborg, and she was like, I'm going to take some time off. I mean, at least say what we want to hear, especially after the late calls. I mean, whether it was intentional or not, and I don't think it was. She was in the heat of the moment. There should have been a point taken off, but there's something to be learned there, and it's just a sad way to end the night, especially since it was supposed to be a special night. So
at the end of the day, though, do you want that spectacle ending in a controversial decision, or do you want it ending in a draw?
Yeah.
Do you want a champion at the end of the day, or do you want a rematch? I mean, of course, money-wise, they want a rematch. Promoter-wise, they want a rematch. I mean, but what do you want? So, it's like I said, it is what it is. I personally was very unhappy with the Derek Brunson-Anderson Silva decision. But stats don't win fights. And if you don't want it to go to the judges, then don't let it go to the judges. That's all there is to it. There's a lot of Anderson Silva fans out there. I can respect what the man's contributed to the sport. Do I think he's done? I think he's still got some fight left in him, but I don't think he won that fight last night. I think Derek Brunson got the best of him, and there was some that I missed. There was some of the fight that I missed. So, I can't offer a full opinion on that. And again, it's just my opinion. But I don't know, man. Stacked top to bottom, then you go. Nobody's even really. I mean, some people are talking about it, but Ian McCall. Well, somebody would like to see Ian McCall get into the cage sometime. I don't know. You are for the fighter, and I understand shit happens for 5 times in a row. Yes. It makes you think, man.
It's frustrating, man. I'm trying to get him on the show. I've been in talk with him. I hope all is well, because he was an amazing fighter when he was in the octagon, and it just sucks every time that he sets up a fight. It gets screwed up somehow. And just really quick, man, that co-main event with Anderson Silva, you want to get 5 rounds in Anderson Silva fight. 3 is not enough. You know what I mean? So I didn't agree with the judges on that one either. I am happy that Silva won. I was shaking the entire time that fight was going on. But listen, man, what we like to do at this point in the interview, I know you got a class to teach. I hand the imaginary microphone over to you. If you got any shout-outs, any sponsors, anyone that you want to give a shout-out to, the floor is all yours now, brother.
Basically, like I said, man, if you guys can check out village2villagefoundation.org, they're actually, we helped organize a wrestling event with Coach Chris Haynes from the Gladiator Wrestling Academy a couple years back. Well, we didn't really help organize it. He put the whole damn thing together because he's awesome. Best wrestling coach around. Basically, they raise money and then try and turn these scholarships in the names of fallen soldiers into endowment, so they refund every year. So I actually just shared a link on Facebook for their thing. I might actually get back on there and tag you in that, Eddie. Maybe you can post that in the show notes or something.
Yeah, no problem.
If you're in the New York area and you hear Coliseum Fighting Alliance, that's us. Come out, Quality MMA. We put fighters first, because that's just what we are. The safety is paramount to us. Ballard House MMA down in Frederick, Maryland was one of our first Project Takedown schools. Rob McCall, the whole crew at Strike Off, Sensei Nima, all them guys. As soon as I said something to Sensei Nima down at Kaizen MMA in Virginia, they're all ready to go with it. So Ryan Morris, Tripwire Combat Fight Sports, our sponsor. The guys at Hoodlum Fight Gear is always showing support. Geese for GIs is another great one. They do seminars. Brian Crandall, like I said, they donate geese to service members all over the world.
That's
man.
awesome.
So it's a really great cause. They're getting ready to be 501c3. So that's the greatest thing. And honestly, the most important person I actually have to thank, and if you cut any part of this interview out, do not cut this part out. I appreciate it. Eddie is my wife, man, because without the support of my wife telling me to constantly do this stuff, I don't know. There's been times where I'd have just hung it up. And, they say behind every good man is an even better woman sometimes. Some might not agree with that, but I wholeheartedly do. So my wife, Amanda, I love you, and I couldn't do it without you. And again, Project Takedown, man, if you are a vet, if you know of that, if you have an MMA school, if you have, whatever, man, Project Takedown 717@gmail.com, and we'll do what we can. And a real quick shout out to the legend Pat Miletich, man. I hit Pat up, and the craziest part is being a fan of this sport for so long, and through a mutual post, Pat got informed on what we did, and to look down on your Facebook, man, it is what it is, but to look down on your Facebook and see that Pat Miletich sends you a friend request and start bullshitting with Pat Miletich, it's probably one of the coolest little things I've ever had to, been able to do. As far as this whole little journey with starting this stuff, it's kind of cool from a fanboy perspective, man. So big shout out to Pat Miletich and Mike Malice over at MMA Melee. There's so many people, man. Like I said, I got guys on the back burner. The Carroll brothers down in the Carolinas, Sean Loeffler out in California. All these guys, man, as soon as they heard about what we're trying to do, they all were like, yeah, we're doing it. It's just I haven't had a vet in that area, so it's kind of just sitting on the back burner, man. But like I said, one vet at a time, man, we'll get it, and hopefully this year will be a little bit of a year for us to spread our message a little bit and get more gyms to honestly just take this idea and just run with it, man, and evolve it, just to do better than I'm doing with my little gym in my house right now, and the few little schools and emails I've sent, man, take it on to bigger and better things, and just kind of keep rolling with it. But just veteran wellness is important. It should be important to all of us. They're fighting for the ability for us to just wake up and just be able to hug our kids and come home every day, and enjoy the freedoms that we enjoy. So this is the least I feel as a sport, man. If we can all get together, we're all on the same page, man. No matter how much shit talking's done, we're all on the same page. We all love martial arts, whether it's Taekwondo, BJJ, or MMA. We're all fans. We're all Rabbit fans. If you're getting into it at this level, you're a Rabbit fan. So this is our way of giving back, and us as a community. You're not going to see the NFL doing this. You're not going to see, if we can get together as a whole community and kind of shed some light on this and be able to do some stuff, man. It's really a great thing, and like I said, like you said, as soon as you heard about it, you jumped on. So I hope everybody else has the same mindset as you, Eddie, and I appreciate the time, man.
It's like I said, man, I had to have you on the show because doing something like this is very important. And another thing about MMA that's just a beautiful part about our sport is that it's worldwide. It connects people around the planet under one roof, pretty much. We're all relating on this one sport that really brings us together. I want to thank you for coming on Pure Evil MMA today, man. One interview at a time, man. That's why I needed you to come on the show, because hopefully someone out there is listening to this right now and they'll reach out to you. Let's try to get this going, brother. Thanks for coming on Pure Evil MMA. Have a great night, brother.
Thank you, man. Bye.